Welcome to the Millennium Marriage Podcast,
where we discuss practical tools and insights into the joys and challenges of marriage.
You always do the welcome back. You want to do it?
Yeah, I was, but you started stretching when that 20 was about to hit.
This is what happens. We're gonna record the podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Millennium Marriage Podcast.
Woo, woo.
We are back. We're on video this time.
We are back in full effect.
Oh, yeah. Full effect. Video, audio.
This is interesting.
HD.
Interesting being on video this time because normally, I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
We're talking to everybody. So, yeah. Don't mind us as we learn the ropes here.
We're going to get it together.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to get it together. And we're back with another topic that we feel is really key for us with our marriage, and that is our children and our parenting. And parenting in this time, in this day and age.
Yeah.
So different than past.
How do you get on the same page in parenting? That's a loaded question. But there are many different approaches out there, many different methods when it comes to parenting. Ultimately, as long as you're leading with love, that should be the core, and have a good foundation. But, I guess we just talk about a few things that we've experienced, but a few things that have come up in our worlds, in your worlds, just in society in general. How do you create unity in parenting? Right? So I guess for me initially,
I think before you do that, because you said you want to, as long as you're leading in love is like the key.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also having them grounded in a foundation of the church and God is really big.
Yeah.
To help, just to start them in the right direction.
Train up a child in the way that they should go.
There you go.
And when he grows old, he will not depart from it. So,
that's right.
That's what the word teaches us. But we as parents, how do we train up a child in that way?
Especially now.
Yeah. There's so many external factors that come into play. Obviously, it starts in the home. And we have to teach them the foundation, like you said, the basis, but they have to go outside of these doors at some point. And there's a lot of factors out there that, man, it is a challenge to navigate. It's a challenge to teach. It's a challenge to help them understand when we don't even understand how to navigate a lot of things that are going on right now. But ultimately, one step at a time. The first step is making sure that we're going to God to help guide us because it's crazy out here. And making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
So that's number one, right? Unity. We have to be grounded and have the same ideas as to how we're going to raise our children. What boundaries we're going to establish with them, with us. And I think the most important thing when it comes to unity in parenting is making sure your kids know that you are unified, regardless, that you and your spouse are unified, and there's nothing that they can do to come between that, because we know we were all kids once, and you figure out who's the softest or who's the easiest to get over on. And
I'm not going to dad, I'm gonna go to mom. Yep. She gonna let me get away with it.
Exactly. And they will try it. We all tried it. Listen, don't act like y'all didn't do it. I did it, you did it, we all did it. Okay. Once we figured out, all right, well, mom will be a little more lenient, regards to me being on the phone past 9:00. So, I just will stay away from dad while I'm on my phone. You know what I mean?
She was sneaky.
Don't let him try to act like he was all innocent, y'all. Okay?
You know what's crazy though is back to that the kids doing that,
Mhm.
like the pinning one against the other.
Mhm.
Where do they learn that?
I mean,
That's not a learned behavior.
to me, it's just evolution. Like, if I come to you about a certain thing, and every time I come to you about that certain thing, the answer is no. And at one time, I remember, oh yeah, wait, I went to mom and she said,
Yeah.
yeah. Let me just, you know what I mean? That's just growth, maturity, and them learning the ropes. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's experience. You do something enough times, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
yeah, they don't have a choice. They evolve and they adjust to their surroundings,
Right.
which is good. What we want them to do, but
Not like that though.
not that way.
No. No.
But listen, we were all there. But how do we help them to understand that that's not an option? Obviously, we have those conversations and we say, understand what daddy says stands, what mommy says stands.
Right.
Like, if he
Yeah.
said no, don't come to me because it's going
Mhm.
to be a problem. You know what I mean? And vice versa. But that doesn't mean they won't try.
Yeah.
So, in those moments when they are trying, I think it's important to address it, number one, with them. Like, didn't you just ask daddy that question? Or did you ask daddy already? You
Mm.
know what I mean? To let them know that they need to be upfront from the beginning. Like, I'm giving you every opportunity to let me know the real deal. And then also clarifying with them, like, that it's not going to happen. Like, regardless, whatever you said stands,
Mhm.
right? And doing that with love. Like, not always like, didn't your dad say? Sometimes you got to do that. Let me just say that. Okay. Sometimes it is what it is. But other times it's like, do you understand what you just did? You know what I mean? Because sometimes I think they may get in a habit of just, oh, well, one said no, let me go over here. Or,
Mhm.
I just automatically come to mom because I know she's going to say yes, even though the last time daddy told me not to do this. Where we had to remind them, listen, I think you might have forgot, where we stand.
Right.
Like, daddy already had this conversation with you. Or do you understand what you just did? Like, you just went and asked him, and because you didn't get the answer that you wanted, you came and asked me. Like, is that the way we operate in here? And giving them the opportunity to self-correct. I think a lot of times I think we're all guilty of this. We discipline or we correct as soon as we see something, as
Mhm.
soon as we see them making a wrong decision, or as soon as we see them doing something that might hurt them, not extremely, but sometimes they have to learn on their own so that they can think back like, oh, wait, when I did that last time this happened, there
Yeah.
was a bad consequence.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a lot going on and they're just not thinking about it.
Mhm.
So sometimes they can come and you just give them that look, like, you already know. And they be like, oh, okay, sorry, mom.
Yeah.
So I think we have to, obviously, we have a job to do in directing them and teaching them. But at the same time, I think we also have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are taking in the things that we're teaching them, that they are trying to apply them, but we have to give them the opportunity to do that too.
Yeah. And allowing them to make those mistakes, and giving them the
Mhm.
grace to make those mistakes,
Yeah.
right? When they make the mistakes, don't be so quick to just condemn, because we can
Mhm.
be like that. We can condemn them so quickly for making a mistake, but allowing them to learn from that mistake and giving them the grace to move forward and move past it
Mhm.
is something that we all struggle with.
Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
struggles, whether you're dealing with a child or an adult. It's always a struggle
Yeah.
because we always see the error, the fault, the sin in everyone. So
Mhm.
we have to make sure that we're not viewing them in that way
Yeah.
and allowing them for that growth, because every mistake, every sin, everything that they go through, everything that they do
Mhm.
is all a learning experience that's
Yeah.
going to cause growth,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So just allowing that to happen.
Yeah. And I want to back up. You said you used the word condemn. So that's something that we were just talking about earlier this week. We're in a small group at our
Yeah.
church. It's called Freedom. Um, and I won't go too much into that, but just to stay on course, we talked about the difference between guilt and shame.
Mhm.
And man, it hit me. I don't remember the exact words. I wish I had the book down here with me. So guilt is dealing with the sin. Like, it's about the sin. Shame, it's about me. So, there is no condemnation in Christ Jesus. So that's that shame, where we're carrying things with us that we've done wrong. We're carrying the sin or whatever decision we made with us, and we feel that shame to the point where we hide. We hide the sin or whatever it was that we did, but we also question our worthiness as a person. And does God still love me, even though I did this, or he can't love me because I did this and it's so horrible. So that's that shame, that condemnation. But in Christ Jesus, there is no condemnation.
Right.
In him, there is grace and there is love and there is forgiveness. So, yes, we feel that guilt or that acknowledgement, or that conviction. That's the word I'm looking for when we do something wrong, but understanding that there is grace and there's nothing that we could ever do to earn Christ's love, right? So it's the same with our children.
Mm-hmm.
When we are disciplining them or helping them to acknowledge when they are making a wrong decision or anything like that, we still have to do it in love. We can discipline in love by conviction or helping them to understand why their decision or whatever it was wrong, but also reminding them that even though this happened, I don't love you any less. I'm here for you in this moment. How can we work through it? How can you improve? How can I improve in helping you to get past it? So that's the difference between that conviction when you know something's wrong, when they know something's wrong and they can self-correct, versus condemnation when all we're doing is spewing all the negative things that they did, and focus so much on the sin or the bad decision or the bad choice or the bad words or whatever, and not focus on the act and how they can fix the act,
Right.
and doing it in love. So I think that's really important because when it is not done that way, I believe it causes a lot of trauma
Yeah.
and baggage and shame
Yeah.
that our kids will carry on with them in the future.
Mhm.
So, and I'm sure all of you could tell a million stories, of where you've had experiences like that. And I'm not just saying in parenting, but even from people, bullying or teachers or just people around you who talked down to you or condemned you or told you weren't good enough. That really creates some internal scars. And it's difficult to move past that, especially when you don't have that foundation in God to really know who he created you to be. It's easy for external voices to be internalized and become your own voice that you speak to yourself. So as you are, I guess, child rearing, we were talking about that word the other day. Sorry, insider. As we are parenting,
There you go. I don't. Yep.
shut up.
I don't have a
Something to keep
vast
in mind.
vocabulary, so
Excuse, as we're talking about parenting, excuse all the background noise. I don't know if you can hear that.
Sheesh.
That's our kids that
Yeah.
we told we were recording, but
Mhm. Yep. I want to bring up a topic.
Okay.
One that I think everyone is dealing with now.
Mm-hmm.
Just in this time. Um, how is it that you can raise your child in this climate that we're in
Mm-hmm.
with that foundation, with that biblical Christian foundation, um, with all the outside things that are coming, the with the internet being here, with just everything you can watch on just regular cable TV. Turn on channel
Mm-hmm.
3, channel 6, channel 2. It doesn't matter. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's all over. And trying to have those tough conversations when you're asked these questions, well, what's that, or what's this, or why is this happening, or you know all the different things that are just going on in the world. Like how can we, or how do we um make sure that we're still pouring that word into our children?
Another loaded question.
Oh yeah, very loaded.
I mean, really, it all comes down to an understanding for the word, and not just our understanding, but like you said, making sure that they understand the word of God, um, and making sure that they are in environments that establish the word of God in their conversations, in their behaviors, and what they're listening to and what they're watching. Like, we can't expect our kids to live righteously, right? If everything that they're surrounded by is unrighteous behavior. So if, we're allowing them to be in environments where there's alcohol and foul language and fighting and arguing, and how are they expected to behave?
Mhm.
That's what they see, right? So if they are not in an environment conducive to what the word says, then how are they expected to see it played out? It's one thing to read, but as children, they're just learning how to comprehend what they're reading. So that's one thing. Like, it may not just be actually reading the Bible, it may be worship music and asking them, do they understand what they're saying? It's our actions, how we're living, and being the example. We are our children's first example.
Mhm.
So our behavior, our language, whether or not we communicate in love and not judgment, that's what they're going to go off of,
Yeah.
And I feel like the more we create those positive environments to reinforce um, that lifestyle, the less effect, or I'll say this, not the less the effect, but the easier it is for that to overpower what the enemy throws in at you
Yeah.
from the outside.
Yeah.
Like, when your heart is grounded in those things, and those are the things that you have a core foundation of understanding for, it's more difficult for outside influences to come and sway that. Now, that doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we don't have to have the conversations when those outside influences try to affect their mind, the way they think, what they see, what they speak. But it's up to us as parents to be able to identify those things by being engaged with our kids. That is really important. Really, really important. With technology, iPads,
Yeah.
cell phones, all of that, and both parents working, and there's so much going on. It's like we can get caught up in, I just need a minute, go ahead and get on your
Mhm.
technology.
Yeah.
And we don't know what our kids are watching, what they're listening to, who they're talking to,
Yeah.
or they're just locked in their room all day. We have to be more engaged.
Yeah. No, we absolutely have to be more engaged. I just literally had this play out upstairs a little while ago with
Mhm.
our youngest son. Um, I just started playing with him just randomly. He had a ball in his hand. I knocked it out of his hand, and then it turned into a free for all. We're wrestling,
Yes,
throwing the
and I
ball
thought
at
they
each
were coming
other.
through the floor.
Yeah, throwing the ball at each other, running around. It was 15, 20 minutes of just laughing and playing. And we finished. I go in the kitchen. I'm getting my dinner ready, and which this wonderful lady already had cooked, and it was all done. It was
Wow.
delicious. Thank you.
I tried, thank you.
But I'm getting that together, and he comes in and he says, "Can we do that more often?" And
Mm.
it hurt me because I don't do it enough.
Mhm.
Like we get so caught up in
And gotta get this
and
done,
got to
get
do
that
this,
done.
this, this, and we're on this schedule, and it has to be like this, and we forget that they're kids and they just want to play. They just want to have
Yeah.
fun. They just want to laugh. They just want to be around their mother and their father
Yeah.
and just be in delight. And I was just like, why I had to call him over. I'm like, listen, come here. I said, listen, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't do it more. You know, like
Mhm.
I just had a ball with you. I was laughing, we played, it was funny, and I told him that we're gonna do that. I'm gonna put forth that effort, and it's not even an effort. It's fun.
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah.
effort.
Yeah.
Like But we could get so caught up in nonsense, to be honest with you, that we forget that they're just kids and they just want to have fun.
Yeah.
And it's just so big, and that leads into another, it's not going off topic because it's still the topic, but that was just a quick story. um but that being able to bring that foundation in this time, I think also, if we can start to build this open line of communication with our
Yeah.
children, um where they feel safe to be able to come to their parents
Hmm.
and have those talks, um because if they are, and they start coming to have the conversations, we can now inject that the biblical facts behind what we are telling them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can start to help show them, bring the Bible and open the Bible up and show them the scriptures and everything. And just at that point, now you're feeding that, one, the curiosity, because it's there,
Hmm.
right? And then two, they're building from the curiosity, they're building the knowledge. And then three, it just starts to open up their hearts
Absolutely.
to the Lord. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's a really big thing. And we're still working on that.
Yep.
Oh, trying to create that line of communications, and it's not easy. It's
Listen, and we
so
have a
hard.
tween.
It's so
So,
hard. And it's so hard because we're gonna go all the way back to the beginning. It's so hard because Adam and Eve ate from tree of knowledge
tree
of good and evil and
messed it up for all of
mess it
us.
up for everybody.
Doggone it.
So they at least he, I say he because that's what we have, two boys. Um, they they instinctively think they can't have those conversations.
Hmm.
Nothing. I mean, not say nothing, because there are some things that we can do early on in their childhood that could hinder that
Yeah.
communication, right?
The way we've
W-
responded to
Yeah,
things in the
and we've
past.
we've done that, and we've talked about it and had conversations between the two of us, like, hey, all right, listen, we can't respond like that.
Right.
We cannot do it, because what we're doing is we're closing that whole
Yeah.
that door of communication. We're closing it.
Right.
And we finally had to have a sit down with them and say, listen, we're sorry if we ever did that. And we know that we did it,
Hmm.
but we want to have this open line. Like, we want you to understand you can come to us and have a
Right.
conversation,
About
anything,
anything.
right? But we're still trying to build that trust with them now, because we
Hmm.
have to build trust, just like with our children, the same way that we build trust with our
Each other.
each
Yeah.
other, you know. Um, so I think once you do that, and that line is open,
Hmm.
it just allows for you to really get in there
Right.
and work.
Right. Yeah. I think that's really important. Like, I know for me, like, I shut down as a kid because I would expect, like, to get in trouble.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's just instinct, like you said, with the kids, because as they're growing up, they're gonna get in trouble. Like,
Mhm.
you're gonna do something you're not supposed to do. We're gonna be disappointed or upset about it, whatever. And that's a consequence that, they don't want.
Yeah.
So eventually they get to the point where it's just like,
Mhm.
there's that shame where it's like I feel like I have to hide something. Um, but if we can, like you said, work, it is work.
Mhm.
Look, we
Mhm.
we had
Okay.
no
No.
words right there.
Nope.
Okay. That's
None.
it.
Absolute work.
It is work. And it's continual work because they're changing, they're growing and evolving, we're changing, we're learning. And it's just a continuous cycle of growth. So it's like in one season when they were 2 and 4, or however far apart they are, something like that. There was a certain way we could handle certain things.
Mhm.
And then they're individuals, even though the rules are the same across the board in our house, but the way we communicate those rules has to be a little different
Yeah.
between one child and the next.
Oh yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
our oldest, he is very like kind of non-reactive, I'll say.
Oh yeah.
Drives me nuts,
Y-
y'all.
You
Nuts.
have to keep your words to a minimum.
Oh yeah, because
If you
he's
start
gone
talking in
after 30
paragraphs, it's gone. The first 3 words, he was gone.
He has
Gone.
no idea
He has no idea what you
what you're
just said.
talking about.
You ask him what I just said, he gonna tell you the first 3 words. Everything after that.
But wait, no, because
gone.
sometimes I'm like, you didn't listen to anything I just said? And he'll repeat it. But like it's like he heard the words, but he's processing like what he's gonna draw once we
Yeah.
get done with this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yep.
Like he's gone. Whereas our youngest is very like, I mean, sometimes he gets sidetracked if he's watching TV, but listen, the moment you start to have a conversation with him and he feels even an inkling of disappointment,
You gotta talk to him like this, because if your
Excuse
voice
me.
gets real deep, he's like,
leave my baby alone. Okay.
I love him. I love him.
He has such a sensitive heart.
He does.
Like he hates disappointing people. He wants to help people. Like he just can't take it if he's doing something wrong, he gets in trouble.
Yeah.
And so we have to handle them a little bit differently, because there's times where with our oldest, like I sit there and I'm hot. I didn't talk for 15 minutes straight. And the moment that I get a breath in to like stop talking, or if I be like, do you have anything to say? He'd be like, did you know that Elon Musk, blah, blah, blah? Bro, I just talked for 20 minutes about you not being responsible and turning in your homework, and you in your brain thinking about a billionaire. Like,
yeah.
What? So, you have to adjust accordingly.
Yep.
I don't know. It's
Did
weird.
you know that Jupiter is the farthest moon from the sun? I don't know. That's not true. I absolutely don't know if that's true, but that's him.
He is the master of random facts.
Oh yes. He
which is
knows
pretty
so many
cool,
facts.
but it's
He
not
teaches
cool.
me stuff. Sometimes I'm like, that's not true. Then I look it up on my phone. I'm like, man, that was true.
It's true.
We got
Never
it.
underestimate. Listen, don't underestimate these kids, okay? With knowledge being at the tip of our fingertips with Google and whatever else, not that that's an official source, but yeah, they're learning at a much faster pace than we did.
Oh yeah.
Which I guess brings me to another point, like access to the world at the palm of their hands.
Yeah, that's really tough. It's really tough because it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's
like
on the
even
computer, on your tablet, on your phone, which he just got a phone and he's about to be 12. And the only reason why he got it is because he's going to middle school and we need to be able to get in touch with him. But
I'm struggling with y'all.
Yeah, that it's just right there. A click of a button and you can find anything.
Yep. And even like, like all the kids watch YouTube and they have these different families, they watch playing video games and things like that. But it's like, even if you're watching one of those videos, as soon as it goes on to the next video, there's an ad for something inappropriate, or there's an ad for a scary movie or whatever. So there really is no filter. So then it's like at one point I said, YouTube is gone. Like, we're not doing it. Sorry. And then once I started reintroducing it, it was only YouTube Kids. Like, we're not doing it. If it ain't on YouTube Kids, you ain't watching it, sis, bro. Nobody in my house. So, but even that, like some of the videos that are designated to be children's videos, it's not always that. They make their way through. So, the fact that they have the access, how do we find that fine line, right, between protecting them, but not sheltering them?
Yeah.
Because the reality is our job is to protect our children, right? Protect and prepare.
I was going to say prepare. We need to prepare.
And yeah, it's difficult to do both, right? Because we say, okay, we want them to have better than we have. We don't want them to have to deal with certain things. So we keep them in environments that are more conducive to how we want them to learn and grow and behave and all of that. But guess what? When they go to school, that's not the environment they're going to be in.
No.
They're going to be around other kids who unfortunately don't have that influence and are using different language or singing different songs, or
their exposure is way different. So it's definitely it's a battle. it's a adjustment, and it becomes a culture shock for them because they hear a curse word in a movie and they're like,
Especially that baby.
now they go to school and the kids their age are cursing and they're like, oh, wait a minute, that's a
Mhm.
big shock, and it's a different atmosphere for them,
Yeah.
and like you said, we have to prepare them for
Mhm.
the world.
Yep.
um by preparing, I don't mean you go and cuss your kids out and tell
Please
them
don't.
every word in the dictionary. um Not that, but
Mhm.
prepare them for the decisions that they're going to have to make.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say because we had that conversation last night,
Hmm.
right? So, all right. So Justin is our youngest. So we last night, what was it that? Oh, he saw a video on whatever streaming service, and he said it was YouTube Kids, right?
Yes.
And he said, "Can we report this channel?" And I said, "What do you mean? Yeah, we got to report this video." And I said, "Well, why do we have to report the video?" He said, "Because they said a bad word." And I'm like, "What did they say?" He was like, "They said the D word." And I was like, "Really?" I was like, and I'm gonna say it. I was like, "Damn." He was like, "Oh, I can't believe you just said it."
No, no,
And I
no,
was like,
no.
"Oh,
He
he
you
said that
said
wasn't it."
you said that, and he said that's not it. It has that
And something
and
at the
something
end.
at the end, and then she
Then I
said,
said, "Damn it." And he said,
"Why would you say it?" That's literally his reaction,
and he
and we
got up
lost
from the
it.
couch. He was
We
hot,
lost it. We
okay?
were laughing
Like
so hard.
hot. Then he told me he was going to report me because I said
Yeah,
the word.
yeah. He was mad. He was definitely mad.
But that's what I mean by like, they've been raised in an environment where using foul language is not acceptable.
Yeah,
It's just not what we do
yeah.
in
And
our
and
household.
and sometimes a word
Listen,
might slip here and there
listen.
because
We
we're
all
human
human.
and things happen and we get upset and it might slip, but for the most part we do not. We don't listen to that type of music around them. We don't say those words around them.
Mhm.
We kind of don't say them, period, like every once in a while, but we really don't. I've
Yeah, we've come
you
a
know
long way
Yeah,
because there was a time where I couldn't have a conversation
yeah,
without using probably every curse
yeah.
word that you can imagine.
And they still come out when I'm at work. They come out sometimes, and
Oh, I'm
but
telling.
it's okay. Sorry, but we try not to. We try to, especially around them.
But here's the thing, because this is what I was talking about earlier, because of the environment that they were raised in, because of the foundation that we instilled in our household, those things don't resonate well with them,
Hmm.
right? So when they are in that type of environment, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
And they feel like something's off. So, they're already learning to one understand when you're in an environment that is not conducive to
The way you've been raised and the way
right
you
or the
are.
way you live or the way you behave,
Mhm.
then go ahead and remove yourself from that environment and it's
Yeah.
okay. you know and it's okay, no matter what people say, because that's when the peer pressure comes in and people want to say, oh, oh, they won't come over here because or like even as they get older, oh, they don't drink, so that because that happened to me. I wasn't a drinker
Mhm.
and got clowned all the time because I didn't want to go get drunk. Okay, like, and it's no judgment.
Then she got older and she just tosses them. No, I'm playing. She doesn't.
Anyway. But it's a thing of when they are confident in themselves and know who they are in Christ,
Hmm.
they don't have to give in to that peer pressure,
Right.
because they have that foundation. Like, it's cool if y'all want to do, listen, there's no judgment, do you, but that don't mean I have to.
Yeah.
Or they can be in those environments if they can't remove themselves from that environment. When they have that foundation, they can still be in that environment and still be themselves unapologetically, and they can be the change of the environment, because that's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to be, atmosphere changers, right? We are not supposed to let the environment change us. We go into something and change the environment. So when you're giving them that foundation from the beginning, and they start young, as they grow older, you continue to build on that. And it's not so much of a culture shock because they won't be moved easily.
Yeah.
So
That's good stuff.
I mean,
That's just a little bit of our journey,
our
that we've
perspective.
been going on and trying to get into the unity in parenting.
Yeah.
Because we're not always united.
No. Let's address that real quick, and then we're gonna go. Let's address that.
Mm-hmm.
Those times when we are not united, when we are not on the same page about how we discipline, what we're disciplining about, what's a problem and what's not, how do we address that?
So I think you always, I'm going to say 99.9999999% of the time.
That was a lot of nines.
There was a lot of nines. There's probably a 7 somewhere around there, but I'm a numbers guy. You always have to show a united front, right? So if we are having a conversation or we're disciplining our children, let's say Latoya is disciplining our oldest and she's going in.
Because I can go in, y'all. Listen, I can go there.
And his infraction may not be worthy of the way she is reacting.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to say that to her in the act of her disciplining.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm going to allow her to do whatever she's doing. But when we get together and it's just me and her,
yeah,
I'm going to explain to her why her delivery and her approach wasn't necessary with what he's doing or what he did. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that happens with all of us. Like there's some times where I do the same thing. I might fly off the handle off of something that's just so stupid. You left the microwave door open. But
I think that was me.
That probably was you. She leaves every cabinet open, microwave.
All right.
Open.
That's another episode.
Yeah. But so I think the key is that we have to show that front, that we aren't divided no matter what, because the kids, you don't want to allow them to see that there's division, because division leads to collapse. So you don't want to allow them to see that. You want them to see that we're united. And then when we go in and we have the conversation and I explain, or she explains to me, the only right thing for us to do at that point is to go and apologize for our reaction.
Yeah.
Not apologize for disciplining.
Right.
But apologize for the way we disciplined.
That's so good.
Because we were wrong. We're not wrong for disciplining for the action, because the action was wrong, and we can explain, listen, you still were wrong, like that. You shouldn't have did that. But I was wrong because I shouldn't have come at you in that way, or had that tone, or said some of the things that I may have said in the whole, the conversation that we were having. So I need to apologize for that. Like, I'm sorry, because you didn't deserve that. Like, I went too far.
Absolutely.
And that's goes right back to every episode we talk about it, removing that pride. And that's the pride in us. And it might take a little while.
And maturity, I was going to say. Oh, did you say?
I'm just saying, you gotta go. You be having to go and like, whew,
I do. I got to step away sometimes and pray.
Light a candle.
Because he takes me there. You know why? Because we're the same person.
Oh, yeah. Same brain.
I am he is me. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
me and the little one, that's how we are. But I think it's because the same thing. We're a little alike.
Yeah. But that is so important when it comes to being able to apologize to our children. I struggled with that. I struggled for a very long time with that. Because I don't know. I can't even explain to you why I struggled.
I guess it's because
it's like a power struggle.
Yes. It's like, I'm an adult. I don't need to apologize to no child. But yes, you do.
Because it does two things, okay? One lets them know that you're human and you make mistakes too. That we as parents, we're not perfect and we're learning with them. And two, it also shows them that it's okay to apologize. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay that you got upset and said some things you didn't mean, but you have to get into the habit of apologizing.
Yeah.
Because if you can't apologize, that means you can't acknowledge when you were wrong.
Right.
That means you can't grow.
Mhm.
If you're so stuck on I'm always right, there is no growth in
Right.
any area of your life.
Mhm.
So I think, we talked about earlier, us being their first examples. It's things like that, showing them that it's okay to apologize. And you don't have to be embarrassed because you had to apologize. It's called acknowledging your wrongs, putting down your pride, and being human.
Yeah.
So
It also comes right back to that word condemn, because when we're in that act and we're disciplining and we're doing
Mhm.
it in that manner, we're condemning them for the mistake that they made.
Mhm.
And I think a little grace going into the situation, having a little grace
Goes a long
will
way.
go so far, because it'll lighten the situation. Like going in and saying, look, man, you messed up. Like, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that. You just got to do better.
Mhm.
Like, and having that demeanor, then why did you do this? Why did you, and really going
Right.
in and
Yeah.
they already know they made a mistake.
Right.
They know it.
Mhm.
They know it. They feel that conviction, because
Mhm.
it's in all of us. When we make mistakes, we
Yeah.
get convicted. They feel that conviction.
Right.
So they already know. They feel the shame for making the mistake. So when we go in and we go in that manner, it compounds. It adds on to everything that they're feeling. And then being able to forgive them, there's a third thing that it does. It shows them that you care, right? Because when you are doing that sometimes, and when you're so aggressive in your delivery and things that you're doing,
Mhm.
not you, I mean
Oh, yeah.
us, us, period. When you're doing that, it can lead so many thoughts into your child's mind. They don't love me, I'm not worthy, I'm
Mhm.
stupid, I can't do this, I'm always making a mistake. And it can just keep building and building and
Yep.
building. And that's why our kids now, their self-esteem is so low. They think that they have to look like these people on TV, or because they were they weren't poured into correctly as children. So when they
Wow.
grow up, that foundation isn't strong. It's not there.
Mhm.
So I think being able to apologize also shows that you love them, that you
Yeah.
care about their feelings, that you know, and then going in with grace also shows them that you understand.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. And one more thing, and before we wrap this up, when we're talking about being in the moment and not correcting each other, in front of the kids, one thing that really I think works well for us now, and it took us a while to develop, is having a sign, having a safe word, having a something that is gonna catch us in our tracks.
mhm.
Like I could be going in like da 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 da, and all he got to do is say, "Babe," and I'm like, and I walk out, because that means you need a minute to step away. I got it. Let me step in, because you're up here and you got to bring it down. So the moment we catch eyes, or the moment I hear "babe," I turn around and he goes like this, I'm out, because I know that I have lost control of my emotions. And now not only am I condemning, but nothing that I'm saying is getting through to them,
Mhm.
because all they hear is me yelling and condemning them. They don't hear, the truth about the action
Yeah.
or whatever happened. And same with him, when
Mhm.
he gets to that level, I'm
I think
like,
we have the same word.
yeah, it's just
Because
babe.
you say, you be like, babe. And
That's
I'm
it.
like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so maddening
Yes. Because I'm like,
in that moment, because you're
you
like,
just want to
I'm
let it
going
out.
in, and then she's like, baby, you're like, And then you just walk away all mad. But then you get down here and you get yourself together, and you're like, man, I was going in there, you needed that serious. Like, why
Right.
did I do that?
Right. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
get your thoughts together, and
Right.
really, it's just in the moment
Yeah.
that leads to all that.
Yeah. So have that conversation amongst each other
Yeah.
too. Like, and be willing to accept that
Mhm.
from your spouse. Okay. You're not going to like it every time. And maybe sometimes you think it's still, we need to be at this level because they need to understand how serious this is. But we're going to respect each other and respect that they're outside of that fire zone, that red zone, so they can see things in a way that we can't,
Mhm.
So we just got to step away. And if it still needs to be touched on, that's fine. But we can do it with love and grace and forgiveness rather than condemnation and talking down to them. Right?
That's it.
That's it. I think that's it
That's-
for us today too.
Yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah.
Our first video.
Yeah.
Which
How y'all
is-
like seeing our
Yeah,
faces?
know.
I mean,
I don't like seeing my face.
I mean, we don't like seeing our own faces.
Yeah.
Like that's just what it is. But you know,
But yeah.
maybe this is a little more engaging because
Mhm.
we're actually talking to you and you can kind of see our dynamics a little bit
Yeah.
more on the screen, which I think is fun. So,
Mhm.
anywho, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay encouraged and continue to invest in each other for a marriage that lasts a lifetime. We will see you later.
I know. We'll see you now.
So, if you enjoyed our podcast, please subscribe and share. Keep up with us on social media at Millennium Marriage and visit our website at millenniummarriage.com.